And we're back with another episode of the Roselund Fam podcast. And you may be wondering, last time there was 3. This time there's only 2. Well, that's because Mr. Jeremiah Joseph Roselund. Well, why don't you tell him, Jordan? What happened?
Yeah. Great intro, by the way, Josh. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of like asking if we're doing it today, and then out of nowhere, he's like, wait, I got to take pictures of my friend's car. Because he's like doing this side hustle business, right? J Rose Media. Pretty good stuff he's been putting out.
Check him out. At
but
J Rose. Check him out.
Kind of bailed on us, though. But other than that, great guy. Target employee and great guy. So.
Yep. College dropout, Target employee, and got to find a wife someday.
Yes.
That's attractive and has goals.
That's right. You got to have goals.
Yeah. We'll have to interview Jerry on one of these episodes more about his life, his passions, his hobbies, all the good stuff. But this time around, it's just me and Jordy, and we got a few topics to throw around. We prepared a little bit more for this one. A couple questions to chat about. And Jordan, why don't you fire away the first the topic discussion question, whatever you want to call it. Throw it out there to the world.
Yeah, so, it was the other night, and yeah, I don't know what even made me think of this, but like you walk into the kitchen sometimes, and you just have like these random thoughts sometimes. I mean, I don't know about you, but like late at night when I walk into the kitchen, I could be thinking about anything at any time. Like it could be like it's not about what I'm about to grab out of the fridge, it's something else. But I don't know. So I was going to ask you, what's your most random kitchen occurrence or your most random thing that has happened to you in the kitchen? Maybe a thought, maybe just something crazy happened in the kitchen. Keeping it, but yeah. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. The first might not be the weirdest, but more of like I feel like I get deep kitchen thoughts sometimes. And one time I was like deep cleaning the kitchen, and I had this thought about how the enemy sometimes wants us to be so focused on big sins, which are like the dishes in the sink, the all the dust on all the clutter on the counter, and stuff on the floor that's like, okay, that shouldn't be on the kitchen floor, like stuff like that. And he doesn't mind if we keep like kind of wash, rinse, repeat, and he kind of wants us to be almost distracted by those things because there's even if you look really close, there's filth, there's mess, there's dirtiness. And so one time it was deep cleaning the kitchen, and every time like I cleaned something, I'd see something else that's have like a stain on it or something. And it's like sometimes with our hearts we can be so distracted by like the big things in our life, and we do need to clean, like not clean those up ourselves, but like be aware of those things and bring them to God. But other times, like there's layers, and the deeper we go, sometimes we see like just the little ways in which pride can come out, and the little ways in which envy or just the things that maybe we don't see as clearly when we're distracted by the bigger things that can come out more. That can be revealed easier once we get rid of the bigger things. We start to see more the ways in which we're falling short of perfectly clean kitchen every day. But yeah, so that was kind of a deep thought I had one time when there was a speck on the dishwasher that I would have never noticed if I was not deep cleaning. I would never saw that little thing, but it like stood out like a sore thumb once the kitchen was like spotless. I'm like, whoa, what's that doing there? And I think we can do the same with our hearts. What's that doing there? But it's hard to see it unless we're, cleaning and doing some deep cleaning. Obviously, Jesus is the ultimate cleaner, but we gotta search our hearts before Him. Anyway, so not weird or strange, but kind of deep.
Yeah, no, that was good.
What was your strange thought
That
that
was
you
a
thought
lot
about?
deeper than I thought it would be. That was pretty good. No, what triggered this was just like the one day I don't know if I was making like chocolate milk like late at night. Like at first I was just gonna grab like a normal glass of milk at night, and then I was like talking out loud to myself, and I was like, "No, Jordan, this needs to be. You could make this better. Chocolate milk." And I was like, I don't know why, but I was like talking to myself, like out loud, like, and I never do that. And so I was just like, no, this can be better. So I went in, got the chocolate syrup, poured it in, and I stirred it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the spot. And I was like, I don't know, why am I talking to myself like this? And so then I like went and I sat down on the couch with my chocolate milk, and I just started like laughing to myself. I was like, what am I doing? But yeah, that's what kind of triggered that kitchen idea. But what do you got?
That's weird. Weird kitchen thoughts. You got any weird kitchen thoughts, babe? Huh? Talking to my bro, Jordy.
We're podcasting.
When fam. Okay, I'm being loud. I should locate myself to a different room of the house. Weird kitchen thoughts. Weird kitchen thoughts. No, all that kind of comes to mind is like just rummaging through, trying to find good snacks to eat, but usually there's not anything good. Well, there's
Yeah,
good stuff, like healthy stuff, but
yeah. Something the Roselund fam audience should probably know is that like we used to always take the George Foreman grill down to our room was in the basement. We take the George Foreman grill down there to cook hamburgers. And now this is one thing I've always kind of like debated is like mom was always kind of like you can just cook them up in the kitchen. But like if she found out we were cooking them in the kitchen, I don't think she would have liked that either. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And then
it's
we take
kind
the
of
batter, Jake. Shout out to Jake, oldest bro. We'll get him on one time, maybe several times. He was an experienced, wise older brother. Let's call him an old man, older brother, who said one time he was up while we were trying to pull an all nighter because that was just what that was our goal in life, and he said, guys, you got to take the batteries out of the smoke detector if you're going to be cooking with this George Foreman down in the basement. I'm like, you are so smart. Why we would have set the house off, and then they would have surely found us, and we would have been caught for good because the smoke alarm would have went off. So, yeah, shout out to Jake. Give it up for Jake.
sorry. Yeah, I'd probably be like 2
Yeah.
inches taller if I slept more during my childhood. But
If you would have slept that night.
if I would have slept more, yeah, I look back and I'm like, when did I barely slept in like high school.
Yeah.
I'd stay up so late, and then I'd have to get up early for school. So
When
shout
did you
out
go to bed in
school.
high school?
I don't know, maybe not that late. I always thought I'd stay up later than I did, probably. But
I feel like
you
I
don't
usually
remember?
went to bed at like 10
I would
and
just
woke up
stay
at
up.
like 6:30.
I would just like stay up listening to my clock radio.
And that thing would get me up all the time in the middle of the night. ESPN 60. Fun fact about Jordan: we shared a room growing up in the basement, and he grew out of it at some point, but he used to bang his head to go to sleep, and
Yep.
I just learned how to fall asleep with it. It kind of was like almost like a little like white noise, but I just I'm so used to it. He bang his head and be like, all right, oh yeah, it's like a white noise machine.
I'll
Um,
have to like make a recording of it and send it to you if you're having trouble sleeping, you know?
yeah, that way we can relive the memes. And he also, like he said, he had this big giant alarm clock thing that was that could play AM and FM radio. We were AM 550, ESPN 550, through all the night hours.
Yeah,
And
WGR or whatever. And then it would,
yeah,
like in the night
WGRT,
hours, it would go to ESPN. Yep.
ESPN 550. And sometimes he'd be listening to the Giants game or just sometimes it'd be like Sports Center. And but it would stay on throughout the night. And when he was falling asleep, it didn't seem that loud. But if you woke up in the middle of the night, it seemed like the volume got turned up by like 200 volumes. And I remember one night it was doing like this 60 special or something,
Yeah. Those
and
could get creepy.
like
Yeah.
going into this, yeah, it was going into this person's story and how like they were playing sports or whatever, but behind the scenes they were struggling with drugs and getting caught up in gangs and it was creeping me out, man. There were like creepy music in the background, and so like it took me like an hour to fall asleep after I woke up the one time because it was like E60. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how we got down that bunny trail
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
The head banging thing, I didn't like ever choose to start that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think I was like, you have to ask mom or dad, but I think like 6 months old, I started doing that. And then it
Yeah,
just, yeah, I couldn't kick it until I think I was like, I mean, I was still like, might have been like 10 years old or something like that. I don't know. Like it went on for like probably way longer than it should have. But
yeah. I don't know.
it got me asleep pretty quick.
I have to.
Usually a few minutes, I think.
We'll have to get. Yeah, we'll have to get Mama or Papa Roselund on the
Yeah,
pod.
we'll
Get
get them on the pod.
him on
That'd
the
be a
pod.
good pod.
And then another fun fact: while we're on the Jordan sleeping habits train, he used to sleepwalk a decent amount. Um, and we shared a room, like I said. And one night I woke up and we had this like old radiator that would like in the winter it'd be trying to crank out heat. It didn't really crank out heat, but it'd like go and it'd make these weird noises. And the one night for some reason it was like really freaking me out. And I go, Jordan, do you hear that? And he goes, I'm like, what was that? And he sits up, gets up out of the bed, walks all the way upstairs. I'm like, okay, I guess we're getting out of the room. And next thing I know, he starts peeing with the door open in the bathroom upstairs. And I'm like, what's going on? Whoa, Jordan. And then he
I
just
remember this.
and then he just went to sleep on the couch upstairs. And then I was like, whatever, it's just the radiator. So I went back downstairs and I was like, that was really weird. And yep, Jordan never remembered it. And he was sleepwalking. But he goes,
Yeah, there was the other two times I remember. It wasn't like super frequent. I hope. I mean, I don't know, but maybe that's why I never slept. I was just walking around all night. Um, but the first time I remember that I know that I slept walk was in Connecticut, and I would have I went all the way downstairs, and I woke up in the bathtub, and I'm hitting with my elbows, trying to get out of bed. I'm like, why? Where am I? And I woke up and I was in the bathtub, and then I just waited for my eyes to adjust a little bit to the dark, and then I went back up to bed. I was like, that was weird. And then the other time was in New York when we were upstairs. So it would have been soon after we moved to New York. And I think mom and dad said I just walked downstairs, did a lap around the kitchen, like around our little loop, and then went back up to bed. I was like, that's weird. But yeah, I don't know. I don't do it anymore. I don't think so. That's good that I know of.
Yep.
So what'd you have on the docket?
We used to. What were my questions? Put us into the group. Let me see. I think one was. I really wanted to hear Jerry's input on this one. It was about global warming. We've been having September, October, even early November. Just we've had maybe 5-6 days with 50-degree under weather, but most of it's been 60s, 70s, which is rather strange for Rochester, Buffalo, Auburn, New York, upstate New York stuff. So
yeah, today it got to 78, I think my phone said.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that windy either. Sometimes when it's warm in this kind of the year, it's warm but really windy. But it wasn't even that windy. It was just warm. Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, this is championship season.
My question was what do we think? Do we think that global warming's a real thing?
Yeah, Jerry, what do you think?
Yeah. But maybe next winter we'll have snow in end of September. You never know. So
yeah, I think if you since weather has been tracked, I think if you go throughout history of weather, it's like this. It's just highs and lows.
Very oscillating.
It's just very cycling. Yeah, like a cycle. It goes through seasons of high temperatures into a certain, and then low, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, some people are really big on the global warming stuff, though. So maybe Jerry is. I don't know.
Yeah. Just got me thinking. I'm But
yeah.
That was more a question that Jerry might have some thoughts and wanna weigh in. Is it all just some conspiracy theory, or is there some? I've never really researched all the ins and outs of it and what's happening. But it's always when you get a warm day late in the year, people are like, "See, global warming."
Yeah, I think
we've been having a lot of those.
I think a lot of it is and I mean, I'm not an expert on anything, but I think a lot of it, it came on the scene, I think early 2000s maybe, when it became very political, and it was a huge political topic, and yeah, I think that's kind of where it arose, kind of out of politics more than science, but I'm sure there's scientists that back it, but
yeah,
we can table that one for Jerry.
Yeah, table it and maybe do some more research, pull up some pie charts, some graphs, and
stats and
get
facts.
Our sources cited. Yeah, write a research paper on global warming, fact or theory, or conspiracy. But I feel like I remember maybe at one point I researched something. Basically, it was scientifically true, but not as big of a drastic as the political world was making it out to be. It was like over the past 100 years, we've seen an average increase in temperature of point. I'm making up numbers, but like a very small increment where it's like, yeah, maybe it's happening, but it's so minuscule that it's like, But yeah, kind of like what you were saying too, like, it oscillates too, where it's like some years are just colder than other years all across the board. And
Right.
some years are just a little warmer. And in different places too, like, sometimes different parts get hit harder and whatnot, but
Yeah, I think it's like
for
if like Antarctica, I think that would be a good place to start. Like, is Antarctica getting warmer? Because that would actually matter, But
well,
I don't think it is. But I don't have facts for that or stats, so
somebody fact check it. Comment below all the facts on global warming, because we are very uninformed and probably spreading misinformation at this point. So,
yeah. No, I think it was a big thing with Al Gore when he was running against George Bush, whatever year that was, 04 maybe,
remembering the
2000,
history.
somewhere in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
kids vote. Remember, they'd take the kids and to fake vote at school. You remember that?
stickers. You can get a sticker.
Yeah, I didn't get a
Hey,
sticker this year.
today's election day. That relates.
It is election day. No talk of global warming this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
And then my other question was,
it was,
it was like, what do you do? What do you do to? What are some activities or hobbies or just things that you do that give life to your soul, rejuvenate you as a person? And they could be spiritual or non-spiritual activities that you do to just recenter yourself a little bit, give yourself a little life, breath in the lungs, and help get you through the next week or month or day or whatever it is. So I'll let you go
yeah,
first.
yeah. For me, it's watching 24. And no, I'm just kidding.
Jack Bauer.
Bauer, save the world.
You knew somebody died when they didn't do the TikTok.
I know the silent ones. So sad.
Yeah.
Um, I think for me, it's like reading. And like I don't necessarily like reading, but like once I get started reading, I always feel better after I like am done reading. And then like it's usually like something theological or um I don't really read anything else. It's usually just like either the Bible or like a theological or like a Christian based book. But um yeah, but whenever I'm like done reading, I was like I actually like that was productive, It wasn't like um, I feel good about what I did, instead of like when you watch TV, you're just kind of like, well, that was a good show, but I wasted time. You know what I mean? All that wasted time. Um, and yeah, the other thing would just be like a quick workout. That's one thing I've been doing more lately. Just like I want to start getting out and running more, but like I don't know, with the kids young, it's hard to like. You just gotta be more intentional about. I'm running early before the kids get up, and like it's just hard to do that sometimes. But yeah, I usually just get in a quick workout, get the 20-pound dumbbells out, and just do some lifting. And I'm not trying to get ripped, so I'm just trying to get toned. So all the
Try to
haters
break
in
a
the
sweat.
comments, I'm not trying to get. I build muscle at a very fast rate, so I don't want to build too much because then I just yeah wanted some lean muscle, a little bit more lean.
That's why you drink that chocolate milk,
That's right. That's right.
Chocolate milk.
That's right. Yep. It's good for the soul. Chocolate milk is good too. That doesn't really rejuvenate you. Like milk still like puts me to sleep if I drink it at night. It like it still does it. Like it's I don't know if that's
Knock you out.
like if it's like a natural thing. Milk is just makes you tired and I don't know.
Yeah, melatonin pumping out those udders.
Maybe that's what they're
So,
feeding those things.
uh, man, yeah, definitely. Well, I think like both of those things that you mentioned are things you could do with somebody. You could read a book together with somebody. You could like work out with somebody, but you're doing that by yourself. I think finding things that, and I think the way we're wired as Roselunds, we like to have like something that we can just do by ourselves, and I think that's where we can like rejuvenate ourselves too. Um, and so I don't know. I found like sometimes even just like there's a lot of other things that rejuvenate me too, but sometimes just like playing a stupid retro video game like by myself, I'm like, oh, like Thrillville off the rails. This is a fun one. And I just like sit down for an hour, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. And I don't know, kind of like rediscovering some of that like childhood play in me, like
Hmm.
I don't know, rejuvenates me. And like I just remember, like as a kid, like all those things were like simple but fun, and I enjoyed them. And at some point, they weren't as enjoyable, but trying to, I don't know. I think I'm in a weird season where those things, like when I have time with nothing to do, I'm like, oh, I'll play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 on the computer and make a roller coaster. And obviously, anything, too much of anything's, except for like Jesus, is a bad thing. But like everything in moderation, obviously, you know. If I'm going to sit down
Yeah.
for 3 hours and play a video game, then at some point it's going to be like, oh, this is kind of lame and I'm bored. But healthy spurts, I think, is something that I've like enjoyed in this season. Then there's the classic things like fishing and reading my Bible, and I've actually enjoyed reading. I'm trying to read a book a month this year. I'm a little off track, but I've enjoyed that, and that's also been rejuvenating. Um, yeah, I think those times where you can get alone and just do something you enjoy, kind of. I don't want to use the word introvert, extrovert, but as an introvert, for like I think I'm more introverted, and so to have those times where I can just refill my soul by myself and not be around people, like it helps me when I'm around people to feel like I have something to give. So yeah, those are my
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, I hear you. I know, yeah. I mean, there's yeah, the whole introvert extrovert thing has always intrigued me because there's times where like technically an introvert isn't supposed to get like their energy from people. They're supposed to get their energy kind of drained, which like that's not the case for me all the time. Like if I'm with people that I'm
Right.
really like that, if I'm having a good time, it's like yeah, no, I'm energized. Like I come back rejuvenated. And then there's times where people do drain me, like, you know, and but I think that's the case even with like extroverts at times. Like and so yeah,
Yeah.
the whole those classifications have always kind of like, you know, I don't know, not sat well with me in a few different like circumstances. Just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I tend to be more introverted, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's not a one size fits all. There's definitely scenarios where um you can get life from being around others, and I think we're all wired to have both. Like, so to say, oh, I'm an introvert or I'm extrovert, it's kind of like sometimes probably, and maybe more so than the other person next to you, but doesn't mean you don't have any extroverted tendencies, because I think we all have both. So
Yeah.
Language, man, it's hard.
Yeah. My last thing was the state of the NBA.
The NBA.
Yeah, as we're we'll wrap it up here soon, but we'll touch on this last state of the NBA. I'll let you give your thoughts. You give your thoughts first. I haven't been following it too closely.
Lakers. Yeah, I haven't really. I didn't. Somebody was like, "Oh, it was when Dad was like, yeah, they're already like 5 games in." I was like, "What?" Like I didn't realize it started. I thought they started like the last day of October, but I mean, right now they're probably like almost 10 games in. I don't know. It's like the end of the first week of November right now. But
probably
Lakers just lost to the Pistons. That was embarrassing. Yeah, I think overall, across the board, I feel like the NBA has become, and I feel like it's trickled over football, but just sports in general, there's just such a lack of loyalty to a franchise, to a team. And I think it started with basketball because there's only 5 people on the court at a time, so just kind of more reason to be like, that's more about me, and the championship is on me, and I'm going to go get my ring, so I'm going to go to this team and do this thing. And it's always kind of like frustrated me when players do that, like selfishly. Like sometimes it happens. You just, a franchise gives up on a player for certain reasons and they go. But when the player kind of, I don't know, seeks it out and just, I don't know. And it's like players are just constantly switching teams so much because either the franchise quits on them and has such a short leash of like, you didn't perform as quick as we wanted you to, or they're just like, nah, I'm going to go get my ring, and I know this team's going to pay me more, so I'm out. Rather than staying and developing chemistry, I think there's just not as much chemistry because teams don't build around each other, they build around themselves, like individually, rather than like there's not gonna, I don't think there's ever going to be like a early 2000 Spurs team ever again where it was just like they just knew where people were going, where people were going to be, and it was just like an artwork that I don't think we see. We don't see that really in the NBA. It's a lot more ISO, a lot of just that people dribbling around, doing a whole lot of nothing, and not as much team ball. So that's kind of my general thoughts. Again, I haven't really followed it a ton this year specifically, but that's kind of my overall theme and trend of the NBA and basketball as a whole.
Yep, I think I think that the last team that was like just chemistry wise really good was like that prime Warriors team. Like they didn't do like a ton of ISO like before Durant got there. I mean, they were just good shooters, a lot of good shooting, a lot of good passing, a lot of good spacing, ball movement. But yeah, since that team, it's kind of been a lot of ISO ball, and I mean Curry he goes without the ball a lot too, so that was like at least something different that like other teams weren't doing. Like the days of Ray Allen running for 20 seconds to get a look at the end of the buzzer, like at the end of the shot clock, like those days are over. Like, yeah, they're not setting screens for the shooter. They're, it's like they're not doing that kind of stuff anymore. Very often. When they do, it tends to work, but they don't do it very often. No, yeah, what I was gonna touch on was just like how predictable it is, especially like the regular season. Like there might be a few surprises, but like you look at the rosters before the season starts, you can kind of say these teams will be in the playoffs, these teams won't be in the playoffs. And like the regular season is not very like watchable in my opinion. It's just like it's another game. Like there might be a few good like games on the schedule that are worth watching. Like Christmas Day, they usually put a bunch of good teams playing each other or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it's like I'm not gonna even tune in. Like really, might casually watch a game here or there, but like I'm not really gonna tune in until the playoffs, because then they really start to play. And I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Was just like, what can they do? Like even like the load management stuff. Like people are paying tickets, like paying tickets. They're paying money to get tickets to like go see Kawhi Leonard. Or I mean, I don't think anyone likes him anymore, but like they're going to see like LeBron or whoever, and like, oh no, it's his casual night off. He's not hurt, but he just needs a break. Even though they had a day off yesterday, like I don't know. I think it's just a different league now than it was even like 10 years ago. It's just like, for me, it's hard to watch the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Never really watched the regular season to begin with, but I follow the Lakers highlights, so I'll watch almost. I'm not gonna say all, probably about half of their highlights, like the game highlights as they come out, and kind of follow them through that, and then I kind of pick up on some other teams by watching the highlights of like, oh, this player played pretty decent against the Lakers. That's kind of how I stay in touch with the NBA. I also I usually do one fantasy basketball league a year too, and that kind of keeps me in touch. But yeah, as far as the load management stuff, I haven't really been keeping in touch with that either. Like I know that was a thing, but I don't know how many players like actually do that. But I would be frustrated if I bought tickets to a game and player wasn't hurt or anything and he just wasn't playing because needs a day off. Like you're making millions of dollars, man. You're gonna retire at the age of 32. Like
Yeah.
so what if you tired? I don't know. Like go out there and play. But yeah, the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, you get the reason there's so many games is because they make money off all the games. So it's like, why wouldn't they have as many games as they could? So it's like, you get it from a business standpoint, but it's more the, even just like, I don't know. I feel like you and I could like study the NBA for a month and be able to coach one of these teams, like, and not get embarrassed. You know what I mean? Just like it's not very complex. None of it's complex. Like the defense isn't complex. The offense is not complex. It's just very like,
Yeah, it's
JV.
just as far as like schematic X's and O's, it's literally you know what every team's doing. Like it's just the same motions. It's just who's gonna get the buckets. Like
Right. Yeah. It's either
there's no
pick and roll. Oh, wait, it's a pick and pop this time. Whoa. Yeah. Just like,
yeah. Well, and even just the way the ball moves, it's kind of going back to my point of like there's way more dribbling, at least from what I see, like just a lot more dribbling and a lot less passing. Like if you were to, again, fact check us on this. If you were to count just the amount of passes, not assists or anything, but just passes over the course of basketball as a history, I feel like that it's just declined. Like throughout
Way
the
down.
origin game to now, it's just a lot less of a team, let's pass the ball, and more like I can get this bucket against this guy, everybody spread out and give me my space. And if
Yeah.
I get like triple teamed in the paint, I'll kick it out to an open shooter. And that's really all that happens. It's just that kind of one pass and maybe an extra pass if somebody closes out good. So it's like maximum 2 passes on a possession. And generally maybe one. Like,
Yeah.
it's either I pass it to the guy in the paint, he does something, kicks it out. Okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe 3 if that were the case. If some guy passed it into the guy in the post, like it just doesn't get worked around all like never.
Yeah.
But
One of the games I watched this year was one of the Spurs games, and they were I watched it because the Stephen Castle, who was on UConn last year, I want to see how he was doing. And so,
you can
like, 3 straight possessions, like, he didn't even touch the ball on offense. It was just, like, Chris Paul to Wemby. One guy in the corner might have touched it at one point, but it was just Paul and Wemby. 3 straight possessions. Like, nobody else touched the ball. It's just pick and roll and ISO. Yeah. Which doesn't, like, half the defense isn't working hard. Half the offense isn't working hard. So it's just kind of like, the effort levels. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like just the most talented team is they're going to win. And that's how I feel like it's been for a while. Whereas, like, even like 10 years ago, you could coach better and it would make a difference. But like now, it just seems like you have the better players, you're probably going to win the game.
Yep. You're gonna get the buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But
All right, go hustle, guys. Good job. Keep up the pace. Don't forget to shoot open shots. All right, good job getting those buckets, guys. All right, we coached them up real good, Jordan.
yeah, but like the Celtics last year, and I like their coach. Like he actually coaches them up quite a bit. Dad would know. I think Joe Mazzulla maybe is his name. But anyway, I think he's a believer. But he like they're just running gun. Like they just take as many threes. Like if they don't get action to the hoop right away, it's just kick it out, take a 3. And like it worked for them. They won a title, so I don't know. Can't be too bad of a strategy. But you have to have like they have just a lot of depth. They had a lot of depth, so it worked out for them. But yeah, I want to see the big man return to the league. Like even Embiid and like players like that are just like they shoot a lot of threes still, and like they're very outward. Like they do a lot inside, but they do a lot outside too, which is like the modern day big man. But I just want to see like a Shaq return to the league and
Jack,
dominate down low.
pulling you out. Come out of retirement.
Yeah,
Post up.
somebody just dominant in the post. Like we need that again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's. I think we've said a lot of good things today.
I think so.
Jerry really
Talked
missed
about
out.
it all, dude. Hopefully those pictures came out good.
Yeah, we'll have to question him about that media company he started next time.
Yeah.
Global warming and media.
Lydia said, I really need to do homework or else I would.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have Lydia on. She bailed too. The podcast,
fail or
the podcast is like falling apart. Second episode. No, we kept it strong today.
I thought we did good. We had an agenda. We had some discussion. Yep. Well, you gonna do the honors today?
Yeah, I'll do the honors.
Yeah, buddy.
The honor roll, which I was on. Not a lot. My senior year, I was taking all the joke classes. Then I was the, shall we say, honor roll scholar athlete.
Yeah, you were.
All right. Woo! All right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time together where we can just discuss some things, Lord, and just I would just pray, Lord, that as people listen, they'll just see the love that we have for each other and just the ability to reminisce, Lord, and just see how this keeps going, and yeah, just how it keeps on rolling along. And I would just thank you. We just thank you for Lord, your grace and sending Jesus for us, and we just pray that you give us a good rest of the night, and just be with us throughout the rest of the week. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Keep it together, Jordan.
That, my friends, means it's time for bed. And just like that, 47 minutes of podcasting in the books.
I drank all my water. Oh, not all of it. All my water.